guys, today we're going to talk about Scalation Morphs and bearded dragons. Right now we've got all 4 different varieties at our shop, so you'll get to see some great examples of each type. Now when we say Scalation Morph, we're talking about bearded dragon morphs that vary in scale structure and presence, not your other morphs that deal with coloration and pigmentation. So now that we know all that, let's start checking out those morphs. First we'll start with morph number 1, which is called a normal bearded dragon. This type of dragon is the most common type out there and have the wild type scalation. Their scales are rough and bumpy with a good amount of spiking on the back, which makes them have a pretty rough and spiky feel to them. Now when we get to morph number 2, the Leatherback Morph, that's where we only see the spiking on the sides of the body and on the beard and head, but nowhere else on their body. This gives them a very soft, leathery feel to the touch, hence the name Leatherback. Microscale leatherbacks are leatherbacks that have very reduced spikes running down the sides and have very fine, tiny scales. Now people really like leatherbacks because the lack of spikes on the back allow their patterns to show up really well. Morph number 3 occurs in about 25% of the babies when you pair 2 leatherbacks together. This morph is called the Silkback or Silky Morph. These guys lack all scales and spikes and just have bare skin. They're extremely soft to the touch but require extra TLC to keep their skin healthy, especially during shedding. And their skin is very fragile too, so they can be easily injured. You should never keep these guys with other bearded dragons because they can easily hurt them. Our final scalation morph is the Dunder, which we've just recently gotten into our store after hatching out Jenny's bearded dragon eggs. The Dunder morph changes the direction of scales on a bearded dragon, which causes them to have much different patterns than other beardies. Instead of the typical banding you see on a bearded dragon tail and legs, for example, on Dunders you get spots and dashes instead. Also, if you look at their beards, their spikes point to the left and right instead of straight down like a normal bearded dragon's beard. And if you look at their bellies, their scales are all disorganized, unlike a typical beardie scales that all point one direction down towards their vent. This gives the Dunder's belly scales more of an oval shape than a diamond shape, and the scales on their back are usually rougher due to pointing in different directions too. So that is about it for the 4 major types of scalation morphs and bearded dragons. Now that you know how to identify the morphs, you should check out your own bearded dragons and see if they've got any of these cool mutations too.